Welcome to Crime Stoppers, presented by Main Street Bank, a production of WTRF7, Love OV, and Crime Stoppers Upper Ohio Valley. I'm Nick Nash, your host, with a special episode today. We had some breaking news yesterday. I'm sure by now, if you've been following along with the Crime Stoppers show, you are familiar with the story of Brian Goff and Joni Davis, the couple from Belmont County that disappeared, seemingly out of thin air, in 2018, June of 2018. We covered this story earlier in the year, sometime over the summer, with multiple episodes of Crime Stoppers discussing the case with law enforcement, with the FBI, with Joni's family, with Brian's family, and there was a lot of discussion. Now, yesterday, we got breaking news that not only was their vehicle located, but the bodies of Brian Goff and Joni Davis were in the vehicle, still strapped into the seatbelts. Now, there's still a lot of information that we have not gotten yet. I've been in contact with multiple sources on this over the last 24 hours. The most important and most informational of those sources is our friend DK Wright, reporter here for WTRF7, who has been covering this case both professionally and personally since it happened. And she was a huge source for us of information when we were doing the show a few months ago discussing the case. And she, of course, was first on the scene yesterday in Rayland. So here's what we know. We're going to go through what we know. As is standard for Crime Stoppers, I'm going to try to not speculate as much as possible. Obviously, when there's a situation where there's a story and there's not a ton of information and there are still a lot of questions, which there very much are in this case, you tend to speculate, and I try not to speculate. So we're going to try to stick to what we know on this and maybe discuss a few ideas of how this could end up. So yesterday, we get the news that a car had been found underwater in the Ohio River near Rayland. Now, this was near the Rush Run Road exit in that area near Ohio Route 7 North, where Brian and Joni were last seen. It soon became known that the bodies of Brian and Joni were in the car and that they had their seatbelts on. That was confirmed. And other than that, there's not a whole lot of solid information that we know for sure. Now, we can go back through the story and try to figure out what put them in that place at that time. Just to recap a little bit, this was June 10th, 2018. Brian and Joni leave the Pizza Hut in St. Clairsville. As was their standard routine, they would typically drive over to Wheeling Island, stop at the gas station, and then drive home to Martins Ferry. This particular evening, they broke from their routine. They did not make that stop on Wheeling Island. They were last spotted in the area of Rush Run Road in that area of Ohio 7 North by a security camera. That was the last confirmed sighting of them. Now, keep in mind, Brian's brother and his girlfriend were residing in the Rush Run Road area at that time. What their involvement or whether or not they ever saw Brian and Joni that night, we just don't know. So what we do know is somehow their vehicle ended up underwater in the Ohio River with them still inside. As far as the mechanical status of the vehicle, whether anything was wrong, whether anything had been malfunctioned, we just have absolutely no idea at this point. I know they've taken this is kind of a tag team project between Belmont County and Jefferson County Sheriff's Departments. The FBI is also involved, obviously. We spoke with them earlier on. But I understand that they will be taking the vehicle for some sort of forensic analysis. I don't know how in-depth. I'm going to assume it will be pretty in-depth. They'll be having somebody take a look at that. I imagine there will be autopsies done on the bodies. I don't know to what extent. I don't know what condition the bodies were in. I don't know if there was anything out of the ordinary that was found. We discussed this a little bit in the newsroom yesterday about what state the bodies would be in after 3.5 years underwater. Obviously, we're not imagining that it would be a very good situation or a very easy situation to perform an autopsy on, but there would be obvious signs if there was foul play, something like bullets in the vehicle, bullet holes in the bodies, any source of any signs of strangulation, anything like that, I think would be a little bit easier, but otherwise we just don't know, and we won't know anything until an autopsy comes out. It was a very interesting day yesterday. I spoke with DK Wright this morning, and we both kind of had the same emotions about it, and it's relieving, certainly relieving for the families in a sense, that the bodies of Brian and Joni were found. They were located. The vehicle was located. We know where they are now. There's a sense of relief in knowing that. However, it's still a very upsetting and sad situation to confirm that your loved ones who were missing are now confirmed dead. So I've been thinking a lot about Joni's family and Brian's family over the last 24 hours and what they're going through. I considered calling both of the families to discuss this on the show. I didn't feel like today was the right day to do that. We will be doing another follow-up on this. I want to continue covering this story as we find out more information. I'm going to be keeping in close contact with the Belmont County Sheriff's Department on this, as well as Crime Stoppers Upper Ohio Valley and DK Wright here at WTRF. So we're going to be doing another update on this. I don't know when it's going to be. I would love to do another one before the end of the year just to give an update on where things are. But when you're talking about forensic analysis, you're talking about autopsies on a body that's been underwater for 3 years, these things take a lot of time, and it could be a long, drawn-out process. We could see 6 months, a year, 2 years, who knows how long the entire process could take. For more information on this, to stay up to date on this, jump onto our website, WTRF.com. DK Wright did a great write-up on this, and she's updating the hour by hour on whatever new information is available. So now that we've covered what we know about it, I do want to talk briefly about possibilities and how the vehicle could have ended up where it was. Again, I don't want to speculate too much on what happened. If you haven't watched our previous episodes on this case, I would encourage you to go back and hear the statements from the families, from the police officers, from the FBI, all who were very closely involved in this case. I would encourage you to go back and watch those. Those can be found on the Love OV Facebook page, Love OV on Facebook. You can also find them on the Crime Stoppers Upper Ohio Valley website. But without speculating too much, I'm going through my head, and we've had a lot of discussions behind the scenes on how a vehicle could end up in that area. I'm not personally overly familiar with that area. There are some folks in the newsroom that are more familiar with that area, and they've kind of helped out in drawing a picture of what things look like around here. So it sounds to me like this would be an extremely, extremely difficult place to accidentally end up in the water, to accidentally end up in the river. For one, it was believed that Brian and Joni were traveling to Brian's brother's girlfriend's house on Rush Run Road. In order to get from Route 7 north, which is where they were traveling, to Rush Run Road, it's just a simple turnoff. There would be no reason for them to be on what is called Old Route 7, which is near where the vehicle was found. So for one reason or another, they ended up in a place that was different from where their routine would have taken them, or where the simplest route would have taken them. So we don't know why they would have ended up in that place. There's been a lot of discussion about whether or not this was an accident, truly an accident. They drove off the road, there was a vehicle malfunction, one reason or another, or if there was foul play involved. At this point, we don't know 100% which way the authorities are looking at this, whether they're looking at it as simply an accident, or if they were looking at it from a foul play perspective. If I have to guess, I would say, again, I'm guessing here a little bit, I would say that they will be cautiously optimistic about investigating this and finding out if there was somebody else involved, they will do everything they can to figure that out. So I don't know if they are necessarily investigating this as a homicide, but I think if there's even a shred of doubt, they'll be looking to find out any more information on that. Another interesting perspective on this case is that the vehicle was actually located by a team of divers and YouTubers called Chaos Divers. I want to give them a shout out. They have a YouTube channel where they go around different places all over the country, it looks like, and do underwater exploration for things like missing vehicles, missing people, missing property, cleaning out rivers and lakes and that sort of thing. So they were apparently in the Ohio Valley, had some leads on some things, and were able to locate the vehicle and the bodies underwater. So a lot of appreciation to the team of Chaos Divers and their YouTube channel for the work that they've done on this as well. Again, there's not a whole lot more information as we know right now. I did want to give an update on it, but keep your eyes on our website, WTRF.com, on Love OV, the Facebook page, for updates from us. And of course, if you have any questions about this, leave a comment under the video and we'll be doing an update here again soon. So again, breaking news there, Brian Goff and Joni Davis, their bodies have been found in their vehicle underwater in the Ohio River. They were found yesterday. The vehicle was extracted and has been taken in for forensic analysis. The bodies will be taken in for autopsy. And until we know something more about that, that's about all we have right now. But again, check out WTRF.com and keep your eyes on our Facebook page as well. This has been Crime Stoppers, special edition of Crime Stoppers presented by Main Street Bank, a production of WTRF7, Love OV, and Crime Stoppers Upper Ohio Valley. Thanks for watching.